I think we can start. Hello everybody, thank you for joining this webinar around NFC. My name is Ruth Stockinger and I'm Prospection Manager here at Sicap. I'm happy to welcome you to our first webinar around NFC, and the topic is must-dos to turn trials into reality. Before starting the presentation itself, I will do some short introduction and provide some housekeeping information. So our keynote speaker today is Stephane Jayet. He's expert here at Sicap for device and SIM management solution. And he's sharing his experience around SIM, NFC, wallet, widgets, and all these new items that will change our daily lives. Hello, Stephane, how are you doing?
Hello, Ruth. Fine, thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be there with you.
So let me give you just some short introduction about Sicap itself. So we are a leading provider in the area of mobile software solutions. We have initially been founded as a department of Swisscom Mobile, and in 2000 we have been incorporated as an independent company. So we are providing solutions to mobile network operators in the area of device and SIM management. This also includes solutions around NFC, loyalty management, and mobile commerce solutions. Today, our customers are somewhere around the world. There are about 220 mobile network operators using our solutions in nearly 80 countries, and about 920 million subscribers are using Sicap solutions. So before we start, let me tell you also that the webinar will be recorded for future views, so you can share it later on and invite your colleagues or contacts to have a look on it. The slides will be made available, I guess, on SlideShare. And also at the end of the webinar, there will be a question and answer session, and you will be able to ask the questions via a chat window. So start thinking about some tricky questions to challenge Stephane. And also let me tell you already now that at the end of the presentation, I have a special offer for you, especially for operators working with NFC or who are just starting digging into the topic. We are giving away some free consulting sessions with Stephane. So Stephane, why did you choose this topic, must-dos to turn trials into reality?
Well, I think there is quite simple reason behind that, is that so far from what we've seen on the market, I think that's the good moment to share our experience around the NFC, because I strongly believe that we are reaching a momentum around NFC and the different solutions that will be available on the market. But before going in details of the presentation, let's do a short presentation around the NFC context and what is NFC and how it's dealing with the different devices. So first of all, NFC stands for Near Field Communication. So that means that this is a contactless protocol that has been defined a few years ago to interact with different devices. Of course, there are some already existing protocols that exist on the market, and we can discuss here about Zigbee, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. But NFC made a lot of sense for different reasons. The first reason of NFC protocol is that this is a short-range communication protocol. When we are talking about short range, it means that as a standard, it has been defined to reach a distance up to 10 centimeters. In reality, it's more close to 2 centimeters, meaning that for the use case that are related to that protocol, that's extremely convenient, because then you are sure about which devices you are addressing. On the other hand, some other important topic of the success of NFC is that this is a protocol which is extremely easy to interact with, knowing that there is, for example, no pairing between the different devices that we'll discuss together. There is no high consumption in terms of power, etc. So NFC has been really designed to have a small bandwidth, but also a small range, meaning that we will be able to enter on specific use cases. And which are those use cases? Basically, there are three main use cases that you can find around NFC. The first one is what I would call the tag reading. So that's, if you are familiar with the QR code, that's something which is extremely similar. So instead of having a drawing on a picture, you will have a single chip that is placed on an advertising, for example, or whoever you want, and then you approach the devices and you will be able to read the tag and then to be, for example, redirected to a website or to have a direct content available from that tag. So that's the first usage, which is extremely interesting to provide information to end user. There is a second usage, which is a direct interconnection between two devices. So that's something that probably you've already seen on the past, that where devices were able to discuss together using infrared technology or using Bluetooth technology. That's more or less the same idea, where you can exchange data from device to device or exchange information between applications contained on the device. So, for example, you are able to exchange a business card. You are able to make two applications dialoguing together. And there is the third use case, which is to emulate a contactless card. Contactless cards are currently a main usage of NFC technology, which is also called RFID on that case, where, for example, when you are entering your office, you have a card which is contactless. So here we are really on a device emulating a card, and it will be able to connect to a card reader. And this is where Sicap is extremely present, because this is typically where the operator is involved in the final solution delivered to the end user. And if we focus on that use case, meaning the card emulation mode, there are, I would say, two main drivers so far. The first driver, and this is clearly the one that is leading the industry today, it's payment services. And when I'm talking about payment services, it's really credit card mainly. So it is, of course, a solution that is endorsed by both Visa and MasterCard. And it consists of one simple thing. You have a SIM card in your mobile handset, and this SIM card is not more, not less than a smart card. And today, your credit card is contained on a smart card with a chip that allows a secure authentication of the end user to allow a secure transaction. So the idea was extremely simple, is to embed directly the credit card application that you have today on a physical smart card directly into the SIM card, and then to reproduce exactly the same model with a contactless interface. So that's really something that is helpful for the operator to have more services, but that's something also that is extremely interesting for the bank, for example. One example is that the bank, with the different trials that were running all over the world, noticed that the average basket per month was much higher with people using the credit card on their mobile devices. And they explain that with different reasons, but there are some, let's say, funny one, is that, for example, if you forget your wallet at home, you don't go back home to take it for the whole day. If you forget your mobile phone, then for sure you will go back home to have your phone. Meaning that everywhere you are now, you are able to pay because you have your phone with you. So that means that you are never any obstacle to make the purchase. And also, the second good reason for banks is that with the contactless payment, you are much faster than using a contact payment. So that means that if you have the idea of buying something, just you are in a shop, it's so fast to make the purchase that you cannot say at the end, I think about it, oh no, finally I don't want to buy it. You directly buy it and then it's done. So that's very easy, and then you have no choice. So that's one reason and one driver. The second driver is clearly the transportation. So far there is a lot of cities where when you want to enter the tube, when you want to go on different location, you have either the paper ticket, either you have contactless interface now to enter the station. So with the paper, there is a clear drawback for the operator, is that it's extremely expensive. There are some estimations that say that around 3% of the value of the ticket paper is dedicated to the cost of the paper itself, of the ticket itself. So that means that if you have €1 ticket value, 3 cents are dedicated to the ticket itself. So operators are really interested in providing a solution to the transportation company that will allow them to reduce that cost, to minimize the number of automatic machines that are there to deliver the ticket or to manage the monthly subscription, etc., in order to reduce the cost on the transporter side. So that's really the two main drivers we may find today around NFC. Of course, they are not the only one, and there are some examples that we can mention here. So there is, for example, access control. I was just talking with you in a few minutes when you are entering your office. So most of you probably have a card to enter the office, and this is NFC technology. But much more than that, you can have also loyalty cards. So we all have in our wallet a high quantity of cards for loyalty with retailer A, retailer B, etc., etc. With that technology, we can embed everything in the SIM card, meaning that at the end user always has his means of payment, his means of loyalty, and all of that is all included in one single device, which is the mobile phone. So that's something which is extremely convenient, and the adoption that we can find from the end user is extremely high. All the studies that have been published mention that more than 80% of the end user are extremely happy when using the contactless technology. So that's clearly the drivers in terms of business. In terms of history, I would say, NFC and the NFC Forum has been created in 2004 with the first phone that appeared in 2006. So that's not, let's say, centuries from now. On the other hand, smartphones appear in 2007 and 2009 for Android. So that's also something which is extremely close to us right now. And the NFC technology, and we were talking about credit card, means that you have to download something on the SIM card of the end user. And to manage that and to interact with that has been one definition, and one software entity has been defined, which is the TSM. The TSM means Trusted Service Manager. I will slightly detail it later on, but this is something that has been designed and appeared in 2007 with the first standardization in 2009. Meaning that at that moment, only, let's say, feature phones, so non-Android, non-iPhone, were able to be managed by that association. This standard was initially French. Now it has been endorsed internationally with different companies, and the standardization body is Global Platform so far. So, what is the status now regarding the capabilities to address devices and people around the world? First of all, NFC phones. We all hear about in the past that there was a kind of chicken and egg story where people were saying, well, why should I deliver you NFC phones, because there is no SIM cards that supports NFC, but on the other hand, there is no infrastructure, etc., etc. So I think that loop is finally ended. The market is really taking off, and from numbers we find today, that's clear that there is big improvement. In 2011, for example, there was only around 1 million NFC phones that were shipped. In 2012, Berg mentioned that there should be around 40 million NFC phones shipped this year. But in reality, that's much more than this that is being shipped for this year. Just let's take an example. The two main Android stars of the year. The Galaxy S3, which is extremely popular. Samsung already announced that they will ship more than 30 million Galaxy S3 this year, meaning that by default, this device is NFC compliant. You already reached 3/4 of the 40 million. Then you add the second main star, which is the Galaxy Note 2. This one, Samsung also announced that they will deliver more than 10 million devices this year, meaning that just with 2 devices, we already overrun the 40 million that were planned for this year. And today, this is not only 2 devices that are NFC compliant, but around 80, 90 devices. So meaning that we are much more than 40 million. And the prediction says that in 2016, there should be around 700 million NFC phone shipment. So that means that at that moment, we will clearly see a real mass market evolution. And just, we were talking about smartphones with NFC. We should never forget that the first NFC smartphone with Android is only built in 2011 with the Google Nexuses. So that's something which is extremely new. There is a clear trend in the market to expand that and to be much faster. So far, iPhone is not yet NFC compliant. We'll all expect that it will be the case in the next release, but, well, we never know with Apple, as usual, but that's clearly something we expect to be there. So here is for the device side, but there is one thing also in the loop, is the SIM card. So the SIM card is a key element specifically for the credit card services, the transport services. And for NFC SIM card here also, we notice that there is a big gap now compared to the previous year, because there are a lot of operators that are now clearly ordering a lot of NFC SIM card directly for any kind of end user, without taking into account that they want to subscribe or to a credit card application or to a transport application. They already deliver them NFC SIM card. And for 2016 again, this is the year that is the reference right now, evaluations show that there should be on the field around 1.5 billion NFC SIM card. Meaning that if you cumulate the NFC phones that will be there, if you cumulate the SIM card that will be there, that almost 20 to 25% of the end user will have a SIM and a device that will be NFC compliant in 2016. So that's extremely high value, meaning that we are at that moment really reaching the mass market. But if you have the device, if you have the SIM, if there is nothing else than this, you don't have a business case, you don't have a solution for the end user, and so on. So there is one aspect that is extremely important, that's the infrastructure. The infrastructure, this is the first one that is the most important one, because payment is the driver. That's payment terminals. Payment terminals, there is an average growth of 70% year after year till 2016 to deliver payment terminal with NFC capabilities. For example, that's very usual that people have a 3 years or 4 years contract with their banks. And nowadays, in some countries, that's the case for France, for example, but that's also true in other countries, every new payment terminal that is delivered to a retailer now is delivered with the NFC capabilities. So that means that, for example, in France, we expect that in 3 to 4 years, depending on the contract duration of the retailer, all the retailer will be equipped with NFC capabilities. So that's extremely important because then you will have everything in hand to perform NFC transaction. And that's the same story for the transportation. More and more there is the problem of frauds in the transportation. So people are adding a kind of barriers to enter the metro station, etc. in a lot of cities where it was not the case before. And then to have something which is contactless, very convenient, easy to pass, much faster than a paper ticket, it's something that is interesting, and there will be a big development in the future years. So based on these factors, we know that there will be also growing in terms of transaction. So also here there are some studies that shows that the value of the transaction that will be performed using the mobile handset with a credit card will increase again year after year by 38%. So that is something which is extremely impressive in terms of results, and that will lead to a total amount at the end of 2016 at a value of $680 billion that will be spent using the mobile payment. So that's something which is extremely big, extremely interesting for the whole industry, and that will really show that the solution is really taking off. So I would say if we sum up all those information, we can see that 2016 is the year where all the infrastructure, where all the devices, or almost all devices, and all the SIM cards are there to have a real mass market adoption. So that means that we will move from a solution today where you have up to maximum 40% coverage today, up to something close to 100%. And there will be, in developed countries, around 450 million end users actively using NFC solutions, which means 1/4 of the population in those countries. So that's no more a dream. That's no more confidential pilots that are running, but that's really turning into mass market. So once we know that the direction is there, the NFC is taking off, what do people need to deploy NFC services? So there are 3 main elements that are mandatory. First of all, you have the TSM. I already give you a few words about it 5 minutes ago. That's the Trusted Service Manager. Trusted Service Manager is an entity that is there to interconnect the mobile operator with the service provider. Service provider being the banks, the transportation company, the loyalty company, etc., etc. All this software will be there to, let's say, basically the operator has something to rent to the service provider, and that is the channel that is open to the service provider. And the service provider will be there to download the different application on the device of the end user. On the other hand, you have also one thing that is extremely important, that's the wallet. Wallet is something that is quite new, I would say, on the market, in the sense that in 2010, there was almost no wallet anywhere. Nowadays, in all the trials that are running with NFC, wallet is everywhere. So you start from 0 1 year ago up to almost everywhere right now. So that means that the wallet, which has 2 main roles today, is a key differentiator. The first role of the wallet is to let the end user discover the different services he can subscribe. So if you have in a country 1, 2, 3, 4 banks that are delivering credit cards, for example, the end user will see the different credit cards that are available from the different banks. And also it will concatenate, aggregate the different services from the transportation company, from the different other places. So that's one key point for the wallet. The second key point is that the wallet is also there to manage applications that are already installed. One example is when you have downloaded 2 credit cards in your devices, you want to make one being the default payment method. This is exactly what the wallet will be able to do for you. So, if we detail a little bit more, what is a TSM? The TSM, basically, we can make a copy of what is done when you issue a credit card. And the TSM is exactly on that process. there is companies that are providing the key management for the credit card. So that's really entities that are there to ensure that every transaction that is performed with your credit card is secured, is able to ensure the retailer that there has been correctly processed and that the money will be guaranteed to that retailer. So there is a key that is really something that belongs to the end user. And the credit card is, let's say, prepared in one perso center. And in that perso center, we will put the different keys of the end user, information relative to the end user, like the credit card numbers, the validity date, etc. And this card, everything is packaged, I would say, on the smart card and is then issued directly to the end user, either sent by the post, either sent directly to the bank agency, etc. Basically, this process is always the same, whatever you are taking as a use case, and we just replace the physical writing on a smart card by sending it to one special entity, which is the Trusted Service Manager. So that's something which is extremely simple. And the role of the Trusted Service Manager will be really, as I said before, to interconnect the service provider with the operator. So usually you have the service provider TSM and the MNO TSM, MNO standing for Mobile Network Operator. So this MNO TSM is able, using some standardized protocol, etc., is able to connect to the different service provider and then to offer a list of services to the end user. So that's something which has been deployed since years now, but that's really a key aspect of the solution, because that's the communication channel between the different entities that are available. Then the TSM has one role, when we are talking about the operator role, is to really make use of the SIM card. So that's very simple. You should imagine that your SIM card is a kind of building with different flats in it. And the operator is there as the owner of the building to rent the different flats. And then they will be, okay, oh, I'm the bank A, I would like to put a credit card on your building. Can you please rent a flat for me? And then the operator is giving one space in the building for that customer. And then you can put different service provider in the same SIM card. And this is exactly how the operator will have a positive business case for him, because he will be able to rent the whole SIM space. Because for a transaction, payment transaction, the operator is not involved at all. It still respects the current process that is currently done using a standard credit card. So the business case for the operator will come from the capability of the operator to sell some space in his SIM card. So that's for the TSM, and we were talking about the wallet. So the wallet, there are different technologies, there are different things that are available around wallet. Initially, when there was the first wallet coming in the market, it was a pure dedicated wallet. I would say it was even not branded by the operator. It was a standalone application that was able to dialogue directly from the device with the credit card application. That was very simple. But then there was some pilots where there was few services, and then they say, well, okay, for the end user, that would be much more convenient to have a means to let the end user discover the services. And that's how the wallet was able to act as a kind of application store, I would say, but very hard-coded, very static, very difficult to manage. And that's something that was at that moment not yet fully up and running, but at least it was existing. Nowadays, we all expect that operators will connect with a lot of service providers with different constraints, with different capabilities, meaning that it is no more possible to have hard-coded wallet. So that's why we are thinking at Sicap that the dynamic wallet is the future, because that will let the capability to add as many services as you want in the wallet. And we have some customers that say, okay, once I have my wallet, I will be able to deploy any kind of service, being NFC or not, being a free or a paid services. I will be able to deploy everything to the end user. And I'm really there as an operator to provide him, to aggregate him all the services he can access. So that's really a trend that we see on the market, that the operators are really wanting to offer more and more services to their end user. And we expect that this is something that can make the difference from some operators. So just to give you an example of how important it could be for an operator to do that, there is a trial running in China. So with a trial in China means a lot of end user. And they make some studies around the reason when people were joining them and were subscribing to that operator. The other competitor did not have such a solution. And the result of this study showed that 1/3 of the people just signed for this operator because of the capability to have NFC services. So that's really something that we see in the future as being a clear driver in terms of wallet. So once you have that, that's something which is, I would say, globally available everywhere. But we think, as a solution provider for our customer, that this solution should really take into account different things. The first things that we think should be taken into account is the service provider onboarding. As we said, operators expect, instead of having 2, 3, 5 service providers connected to the service, they expect to have 20, 50, 100 service providers. So that means that the capability to add new service providers, the capability to manage the services from those service providers should be extremely simple, should be extremely convenient from both the service provider and the operator. And that's really something that in the trials were not taking into account at all, and that now operators should think about it. And as you may imagine, we are offering solutions that are helping the operator on that front. Also, operators do not want to focus only on free NFC services, free in the sense that you do not pay to download the applications. They all expect to be able to offer much more services using their wallet. One example, again, it's, for example, an operator would like to offer a data roaming package when their end users are traveling around Europe, for example. That's clearly something where the end user can subscribe to. Instead of calling the customer care, instead going to the website in one single page that nobody is able to find. So that's really, really something that operators are interested in. Also, once you are delivering a lot of services, that means that you have also much more problems. The first problem that you will have is that there is a lot of devices in the market. You have BlackBerries, Android, Windows, etc., etc. The capability for an operator to recognize all these devices, to exactly know which services will run in which devices, is extremely important, because then you will offer a real end user experience. You will really be able to offer to your customer the best solution and the best experience. And once you have that, also you should be able to help your end user when they have problems. So that means that an operator should be able, for example, when a customer is calling, to say, okay, you are telling me that this loyalty application is not working, let me do a diagnostic. And then the operator will remotely, instantly read the different application on the SIM card, check if the one that the end user is talking about is really present on the SIM card. We'll also do exactly the same diagnostic on the device side, and we'll see, okay, I see that your services are clearly there, so your application on the device, your application on the SIM card, so all the different elements that are necessary to work are there. So it should work, for example, or if that doesn't work, so maybe that's a problem coming from the service provider, and they can directly transfer the call to the appropriate service provider. So that's extremely important that because we are going to mass market, that all the different aspects are really taken into account and that are really managed at the appropriate level for the operator point of view. So to conclude, I would say that Sicap is trying to make the glue around all that world, all the different technologies, so the TSM, the wallet, the different services, the customer care interface, the self-care interface. So with our solution, we are there to support our customer and to offer them the best solution and to hide the whole complexity that is associated to that solution.
So, Stephane, thank you. You provide a good overview about the state of the market of NFC, also the different ingredients of NFC you need to take into account, the different platforms an operator needs to source, and what is still missing. That means where Sicap can add his glue or the oil to make it work smoothly. However, I guess you still have quite some questions. You can ask them now via your window, your question window. So please send us some tricky questions. And in meanwhile, just let me remind you about this special offer we have. We give some free consulting sessions away for free for mobile operators, just digging into NFC or have just started or running just the first trials. Just follow the link on the slides. You have to fill a short form and then we will get in touch with you to arrange the session. Also, if you want to stay in touch with Sicap and to interact with us, you can follow us on LinkedIn, on Twitter, or follow our blog. And of course, there's the Sicap website. So thanks a lot, and we hear each other now for the questions.
Okay, I heard that we had some technical problems. We cannot join Stephane. We will try to keep all the questions we are receiving right now and maybe answer them in a blog post afterwards. So for the time being, I can just share with you that we have a question about the NFC trials which are happening in the south of France, in Nizza. And the people would also have maybe some more information from Stephane on other trials. He's aware about it. There's also Isam who want to know about if a TSM needs necessarily to be a mobile network operator, or could this be an independent company? We also have questions about the fact that, okay, we see that the market will really be ready for mass market in 2015, 2016, while a mobile operator should already start working on NFC now. So, and some other questions. So what I suggest is that we will gather all of them and create a blog post and send you that information when it is available. I will thank you to all of you to have attended this call with some difficulties. I remind you that the slides will be available on SlideShare afterwards. And I hope to speak to you soon personally about all these topics. Thank you. Goodbye.